Ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reaction, and this is Miscellaneous Myths Pandora. Think you know her story? Trust me, it's simultaneously more complicated, more interesting, and more insulting than you know. Okay? Curious about what's got my britches in a twist, but too lazy to watch the video? Let's just say Hesiod made it Hellenistic canon that women are a literal curse on mankind. Yeah, whatever. I think I'm gonna watch the video first. I think that's gonna spoil it. But yeah. I think Pandora, I just know the reference, like opening the Pandora's box means just, opening all the problems. This supposed, Pandora's box supposed to keep all the evil or something like that. Some game reference like Borderlands has the references to. Borderlands makes lots of Greek references. But yeah, this is one of them. So I don't know much about the story, but it's gonna be fun. Only Sarcastic Production is a great channel. I've written quite a few videos from this already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cast, the playlist, I created for it. Only Sarcastic Production reaction, something like that. Check out the link in the description with all of my videos. Check out the end cards, I guess. And yeah, let's watch this one.
Mythology and folklore as a whole is a really incredible field to study. There's so much creativity and wonder, and it's really fun recognizing story elements that have persisted to the modern day or been adapted in one way or another to stories we actually recognize. But sometimes you find a myth that really reminds you that you're studying a different culture from a different time and place, and that culture from a different time and place might have held some pretty nasty attitudes towards your demographic specifically, and they didn't hesitate to document those attitudes for posterity. And that can
Yeah, if you're colored or woman, let's just say past is never positive for you.
kinda sting. So, this is the story of Pandora, the first woman whose entire gender was created by Zeus specifically to be evil and sexy and make men's lives worse. I'd like to apologize in advance for what the comment section is going to look like. So Pandora's story is...
Wait,
apologize in advance for what the comment section is going to look like.
Disclaimer, obviously I've got a bias against the story that characterizes me and my gender or as evil or solely existent to make life harder for dudes. Besides the obvious source of annoyance, it also does this thing where it correspondingly denies the reality of women existing, acting and having lies and motivations outside the context of their interaction with and effects on dudes. While the story simply describes an antiquated stereotype, it's hard not to take stereotypes personally. It's kinda how stereotypes work. So this story pushes some of my buttons, and thus my retelling is not and cannot be fully unbiased. Yeah, who cares? As far as it's fun, I've done my best to retell it accurately, albeit saltily. But if you prefer your summaries to be devoid of personal opinions, I suggest you turn to Wikipedia. Carry on.
So Pandora's story is told by Hesiod in the Theogony and Works and Days, and it begins in the Greek Golden Age, a time before women existed, when mankind had just recently been sculpted from clay by the titan Prometheus, or possibly Zeus.
So Pandora is the first woman, is that what the Greek mythology says? Huh.
Whatever the case, life was pretty swell. People were immortal, technology was alright, life was good. Now Prometheus apparently really liked humans, and he was always trying to look out for them wherever he could. So when he realized that they kept having to burn all the best bits of their meat as offerings to Zeus, he decided to do something about it. So he went to Zeus with two possible offerings: a nasty looking ox stomach that was secretly full of prime beef, or a bone wrapped in delicious looking fat that looked a lot tastier than it actually was. Zeus picked the tasty looking option, and accidentally set a sacrifice precedent where humanity got to keep all the best bits of the cow and just burn bones and fat. So Zeus is pretty pissed, both because of the disappointing sacrifices he's getting and Prometheus' sneaky subversion of his own supposed omniscience, and he decides to confiscate humanity's fire access as punishment. So this sucks for everybody, and Prometheus...
I knew it. As soon as I saw that, Zeus is not happy, I knew he was gonna do something. Because, let's just say, since I started to react to this channel, I see Zeus as not so good of a deity or whatever. Of course he was gonna do something.
Again, decides to do something about it. So Prometheus sneaks up to Olympus and steals some fire, storing it in a fennel stalk while he brings it back to Earth and gives it to humanity again. Zeus spots the fire in the distance and gets crazy pissed at Prometheus, and decides to punish him first before he deals with humanity. Prometheus, rather famously, is chained to a rock, and his liver is ripped out and eaten by an eagle once a day. Of course, being an immortal titan, his liver also grows back every night, so the cycle can continue ad infinitum. Lucky Prometheus. So now this brings us to Pandora. Zeus decides to...
Wait a minute, that was Zeus's punishment. He knew that this is not going to kill him. But still, it's gonna be, really painful and annoying, I guess.
Inflict a lasting punishment on humanity for reacquiring fire, and he conscripts all the Olympians to help him out. He has Hephaestus sculpt a beautiful body from clay and brings it to life with the four winds. Then Athena dresses her in fancy clothes, Aphrodite gives her a sex drive, Hermes gives her a brain and teaches her how to lie, and basically all of Olympus gets in on the action, giving her all kinds of nifty presents and character flaws. Hermes
I bet Aphrodite did a bit too much, I guess.
names her Pandora,
Overdone
meaning
things.
all gifted, or all giving depending on the translation, to represent the fact that every Olympian gave her a gift of some sort. The end result is that Pandora is a beautiful, alluring creature, but secretly she's also cunning and sly. You see, she's pure evil because she lures you in by being hot, but then, she's secretly a person underneath.
No, seriously, Hesiod's description of Pandora only says that she's got cunning and guile wrapped up in a beautiful package. Sometimes we'll say deceitful. Yeah.
That's right, Hesiod's vision of evil is hot, but not dumb. Pandora
Wait a minute, but his description also says guile. Guile means, cunning but deceitful. That's what guile means, isn't it? I don't know.
also, rather famously, has a pythos with her that contains a whole mess of interesting evils to unleash on humanity. And interestingly enough, there's no implication in Hesiod's telling of the story that she's unaware of this, which doesn't really line up with later characterizations that paint Pandora as an insatiably curious dupe. Remember, this Pandora is specifically not an idiot. That's what makes her so evil. So Zeus presents Pandora to Prometheus' dumber brother Epimetheus, and despite having been warned by the forward-thinking Prometheus not to accept any gifts from Zeus, Epimetheus is a being of pure hindsight, and accepts her. This is a bad call, as Pandora promptly dumps out the contents of her jar full of evil, and humanity is immediately stricken with all kinds of nasty things, like natural lifespans and childbirth and Swedish fish. Only one thing stays in the jar: hope, representing the fact that humanity will always have hope. Greece, I love you, but come on. Shot through the heart, and you're too.
Hesiod's attitude towards women in general, and Pandora specifically, appears to basically characterize them as Trojan horses, beautiful shells with danger hidden within.
You blame, you give love a bad.
Of course, its characterization of that danger is the intellect and cunnings of Hermes, so I'm inclined to take it as a compliment. Okay.
I play my part, and you play your.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat Hesiod's story or spin this to sound dumber than it is. He's very explicit that the thing that makes Pandora horrifying is her guile. Guile means deceitful, isn't it? And the fact that her beauty disguises her cunning. That nobody would suspect her to have an agenda or the cunning to pull something like this off.
Game, you give love a bad name. You give love.
Which frankly seems to say more about the person who looks at her and judges her capabilities purely by her attractiveness than it does about her specifically.
Love a bad name.
But I'm obviously biased against being characterized as pure evil, so take my analysis with the. I mean, he does, his character does say guile, so he, basically Pandora is just evil. That's what he's saying probably. He's not saying that, all woman is evil or something like that. Pandora is specifically evil. He might have been saying that. So I don't know.
An angel's smile upon your.
And this is presumably why Athens kept their woman malnourished. Fucking hell, really? Uneducated, confined to the second floor of the house, incapable of owning property independently.
Lips, blood red nails on your fingertips.
Because a fictional woman created as part of a celestial dick measuring contest did her Zeus given job, and this means the woman as a whole exists only to make life out of a man. Really?
Schoolboy's dream. You act so shy. Your very first.
I'd say this make you wonder about Hesiod's love life, but this is ancient Greece we're talking about. Hesiod's thoughts on women have next to nothing to do with the health of his love life.
Kiss was your first kiss goodbye. Oh, you're alone.
Yeah, this is really effed up, isn't it? That's why artists are dangerous, basically. Anybody who can, basically have a, really vivid imaginations are dangerous. This guy created this myth of a Pandora, basically, and they screwed up lots of people in Athens. Women were basically treated as shit. This is just effed up, isn't it? I mean, one guy just, I don't know if he took that seriously or he was just creating this character Pandora as evil, or did he see all the women like that, or why did he, maybe, somebody screwed him over or something, and he just got pissed off and started to write all this shit. Who the fuck knows? But, his creating of this myths definitely hurt lots of people. Yeah, okay, that's what Pandora is, apparently. I had no idea. I just thought this Pandora is just this entity, apparently. But apparently she's the first woman. Because this is where the women start. I guess this is the first time, I guess all the gods created a woman somehow. Or maybe am I missing something? I'm pretty sure that's the case, isn't it? There you go. Alright, people. If you like my Rick Sunday food, like and subscribe. Check out the Rick Sunday. There's a link in the description. Check out the Khas World playlist. Check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.